America. Then he lost to a teammate actually of Hart. He lost to Alicia. That was also a little bit surprising. So Bomber is still waiting for that big victory since he's representing Red Bull and Red Bull alone. Is this going to be his weekend? It is definitely possible. We know he has BCTVT, but then again, so does Hart. Hart is a really fun, exciting player to watch. I really think we're in for a treat. You know, I'm completely neutral when it comes to these two players. They're both really cool guys. Both had the pleasure of hanging out with them a couple of times when WCS America comes along. They always make round of 16 or round of 8 or even further. I think it's going to be a really cool series.
I have to agree. TBT is that mirror matchup that back in the day got kind of a bad reputation because we saw it so much and it was a little bit too marine tank heavy. It was kind of bland in that way. But since then, it's really progressed to a nice place where it's very fast paced, very mechanical. It's very reminiscent of the old Brood War TVT, which is again kind of the pinnacle mirror matchup a lot of people look to see the absolute top tier play. And both these guys, as you said, capable of displaying it. So let's go ahead and introduce our two combatants. In the lower left-hand side, wearing the red trunks, as someone who might be watching this would say, it is Bomber. And in the top right-hand side, his opponent, also hailing from Korea, it is Axiom Hart. And of course, special shout out to Axiom's team owner and everything else, Total Biscuit. You know, you talked about that pro gaming house, and it's really cool that the Banes took the initiative to grab a bunch of kind of wayward players, put them under their wing, put them in a pro gaming house in Korea, and all of a sudden results are being churned out from these guys. And it's there's no mystery what hard work will do for you, but also it stands to reason that special thanks has to be given to the people that make that possible, and they're working hard to fund it, to get sponsors, to get them exposure, and it's just a really cool story in general. It's like the StarCraft 2 orphanage, but they were adopted by that really lovable, happy family with all that money because they are on YouTube, so they make billions of dollars. And,
I couldn't agree more. It's really remarkable what they have done with Axiom because, in all honesty, if Axiom wouldn't have came along, 3 or 4 or 5 even from those guys on that roster would have probably been retired by now. It's players that we just wouldn't have heard a whole lot about anymore. And now they have still provided us with so many unique games. It's really awesome to see more of the personality of these players as well. They're putting out some cool videos. The entire Axiom roster is just really fun. And they're cool guys to follow. Either way, we're going to play TVT on Merry-Go-Round, Jeff. It's not a map that I've seen a whole lot of TVTs on just yet. I know in some of the other matchups this is a popular mech map, but I also know that Bomber is, you know, 99 out of 100 times he's going to play bio. Bomber is just not the type of player that's going to bust out a mech build, and I'm pretty damn sure that for Hart it's going to be the same way, at least on this map.
Yeah, there's a potential really cool matchup coming down the pipe. If Bomber does overcome Hart, Bomber versus Polt is not only a classic, but it's really funny in terms of matchup. They're very similar. They're very like, if they're facing mech, they'll be Marine Marauder medevac with a lot of tanks. But if they're facing each other, I feel like it'll be actually just pure Marine tank. Not a whole lot of sense in adding too many Marauders in that mix if your other opponent's making just pure Marines. But I know I just earlier got done describing that as bland. It's bland when everybody does it, but every once in a while it's fun to see because it's very fast-paced and there's a lot of things blowing up. It's very Michael Bay-esque.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a really action-packed, high-paced TVT where just like both players are just trying to make stuff happen and kill and a ridiculous amount of SCVs and Marines die left and right, left and right. It's going to be very fun. Either way, we have an interesting opening over here by Hart. We saw he took both refineries very early on, so it will most likely be a cloaked Banshee opening. Bomber on the other end went for a relatively quick command center. This is of course a terrible map for a Reaper, so I'm not surprised to see no Reaper over here.
Yeah, as you say that, you know, for those at home that perhaps don't know why, you want to look at a map that allows for a Reaper to enter from multiple points, but as you can see here, if you look at the natural, it's really just the mega ramp and then the either side of the mega ramp, which is a very easy defense, so to speak. And then if you hop up into the main, again, it's just that ramp area, but and that's because the cliff line on the outside is too high. So a lot of people might not necessarily know that, but that makes for a bad Reaper map. As we can see here, though, it's a bit of a Swiss Army build from Bomber. He does have the faster expand, and we have, like Kevin said, the cloaked Banshee opening from Hart but this is like a weird gentleman's agreement that TVT or Terran players always have. You almost never see the same build, and it's always like Cloaked Banshee versus Faster Expand. I see this so much. It happens so many times.
And the funny thing is, like 2 minutes down the road, we have the exact same amount of SUVs because one player produced a few more, but he's going to lose a few against his Banshee. I'm a little bit surprised to see this Widowmine being placed over here. I would have liked to see Bomber put it in a different location. I had the feeling that he expected a different build. Siege tanks already being produced as well by Hard, which, it could still be possible that he busts out a crazy one-base build, as the rush distance is obviously not super far on merry-go-round.
Yeah, we're gonna have. There's also a missile turret in that middle line.
You should see this. Like, this is a really obvious.
Just ducked out of range of that Widowmine, which is really good for Hart. Obviously, he's gonna cloak, and he's cloaking a little ways out, so his energy is not quite as high as he'd like it to be. But he's getting a little bit nervous because there is a Viking just kind of shadowing him. Looks like he's gonna get this one SCV kill as long as he's paying attention. He does, but for all intents and purposes, you don't make a Cloaked Banshee to go and kill a single SCV. You don't go home and say, oh, that's mission accomplished. But to your point,
yeah, he's not like trying to play a macro game. Like, I totally agree with you. If it was for the fact that there was a command center at home, then he wants to kill more. But since he wants to follow this up with a big tank pressure, the only thing that truly matters is that he keeps those Banshees alive. He starts working on the Widowmine. He's going to take a few more shots. Does he have enough energy to cloak? Yes, he does. But then he's going to run out of energy almost immediately.
Yeah.
Where are those tanks from Bomber? Bomber has one tank, but it's not on the low ground just yet. Like, if Bomber holds, he's going to be in a fantastic position. It's almost game over. This is a really big commitment by Hart.
This is as close as you can get in a, well, not necessarily. This is very close to an all-in, just finish my thought. He did see the Widowmine get placed, so he's going to sacrifice a single SCV. That's a great trade. Even sees that there is a tank on that low ground, but there needs to be more. A second tank on the way.
Banshees are coming. There is a missile turret guarding that tank as well. He has to repair the tank. Bomber really has to repair his tank. He's not repairing it.
He's going to land all three of the Vikings. The tanks are unsieged, though. The Marines doing a great job. Bomber did pull SCVs to do this. Wow. But he's doing a lot of damage. And remember, in the background, we actually have that Widowmine coming closer to cooldown, but a tank immediately goes down. Scan here from Bomber to see the Banshee, but he doesn't. Oh my gosh, the tank hanging on by just 8 health. Widowmine shoots off at the Marines. That's the lower priority target, and even the Banshee survives as well. Bomber is in a lot of trouble. It's looking good for a second, but all of a sudden, not so much.
Even after losing that tank, it looked quite okay for a while, but so many low HP units for Hard remaining, but none of them just died. A low HP Banshee, a very low HP tank, and suddenly this is going to be a little dicey. Bomber again not pulling SCVs for that second tank as well. That went down without really putting up much of a fight. It is not over yet, because the worker count is still very close, but from this point, if I was Hard, I would just expand. Like, you can try to push the issue, but is it really necessary?
No, I mean, well,
it's
interesting. I mean, we can see that he has a 20 supply lead. He must feel that. Cloaked Banshees still don't really have much in the way of an answer. This one will get chased back. They both can get repaired, and as they gather more energy, it's going to be tough to deal with. He's actually running up the ramp, though. And this is actually a great choice. The tank goes down immediately, actually kind of a straight tank trade. Banshee dies as well, and I'll take back what I said. I don't know that was a great choice. With 2 tanks at the base of that, he's not getting cracked anytime soon, but if he's not careful, if he loses this one tank, he loses his chokehold.
At least he has 2 tanks right now. One of those tanks was in range of the missile turret. I really like the position of Hart. Yeah, he can push it. He can probably straight up win the game over here, because it's going to be really hard for Bomber to get enough units out and not lose them. On the other hand, I would still like to see Hart throw up a command center. I think he would be okay with that.
Yeah. With that tank coming out, it's going to get close to eliminating high ground spotting. The Banshees would give that, but with the Vikings here, they need to kind of stay away. But right now, even as Hart has this position, he is threatening the starport at least. There's no add-on there as well, though, so it can pick up and leave. So no real damage being done at this moment in time. And it's worth mentioning, by the way, Bomber has 2 CCs, so he's producing his harvesters twice as fast and getting back up there.
Yeah, Hart is realizing this as well right now. He's like, this went all pretty good, and I would have really loved to win this game, but if I'm not going to win it soon, eventually, Bomber is going to outmine me again. He still has eye control as well, so these Vikings providing high ground vision, which is really important. I think Hart is going to scan like right now, immediately. He has to know that this is coming. Hart, scan.
No scan. It's going to get, it's going to lose potentially 2 tanks if it doesn't get out of here right now.
He's going to fly in with 3 Banshees, but there is a double, of course, orbital for Bomber, so 1 Banshee will go down immediately. That Widowmine getting a relatively juicy shot off. All the SCVs being pulled right now. This is really close. I guess Hart still has way more DPS output, but all of the tanks are actually falling. Look at the SCVs putting up one hell of a fight.
I'll
wow,
tell you what,
Hart
Bomber just
overextending
clears
there.
that up. Yes, that's exactly right, Kevin. I feel like it was an overextending of Hart. Again, I have to reiterate, defending the base of that ramp, getting your own expansion, that's a really powerful position. But I guess in Hart's defense, he was worried about the fact that Vikings are just forever going to be picking away at his ability to scout higher ground. And as such, the tanks were always going to push those back. So I guess Hart felt pressure to do something about it.
Do we have another scan available for Bomber? He has energy on this orbital, but that orbital is flying. He has another scan available as well, so this Banshee is going to fall as well. And let's take a look at the state of the game. Yes, Hart is up 9 workers, and by this time he also has that second orbital. It's so important that he finally landed that, because if he wouldn't have done that, then I really think that Bomber would have been in an excellent position. But you know, when it comes out
Bomber's about to be in, I mean, look at this,
yeah.
Kevin. We got 16 stimmed Marines about to come in here, as well as 2 Vikings.
And Hart has no stim, right? Hart has nothing.
No, he's got nothing.
He has cloak. That's the only upgrade he has.
Yeah, this is going to get ugly for a second. He's actually going to drop off.
Hart still doesn't see it.
Yeah, now he does. Stim goes forward. Tank is focused down.
Wow, Bomber.
Okay.
That was a really cool victory for Bomber. He was under a lot of pressure for